What up, people? Butcher Ball Black here. I am watching the Cleveland and Boston game. Not gonna do one on that right now. Watching Boston, trying to figure it out. I think they are 101 to 82 as of now, so I don't think that's gonna change that much. This is gonna be a blowout, and unless something miraculous happens, but that'll be later on in the week. I gotta do the vlog real quick on the Lavar Ball interview on the Herd earlier today with Kristine Leahy, and I listened to the whole interview. It's about 14 minutes, and I listened to people's. I also listened to Kristine talk about what happened afterwards, and both videos will be in the description. Okay, so basically, Lavar does his Lavar thing and clowns her, and doesn't really. He's very dismissive. He's very dismissive of her. He only gives eye contact to Colin. He was very disrespectful to her. For those of you that think that was disrespectful, I think it was, though I understand it, but I'll get into that in a second. The interview was very immature, and I'll post the interview, and I'll post the interview, and I'll post another video that I actually want to cite here. About the reason why he went in on Kristine, and he went in on Jason Whitlock as well. Okay, and this is my thoughts about the whole situation and the reaction of the situation. One, Kristine said something to the effect before that, and this was a marketing. This is about his marketing. We'll go to the marketing first, because that's what was addressed, and then we'll go to the other part where she talked about his parenting skills. Okay, the whole thing about she not wanting to wear a big brawler brand, shirt. And her saying, well, they're not advertising to women, or they're not catering to women. That's an athletics brand, which is what he was saying. That's an athletic brand. But two, if you actually do research on his brand, as small as it is, they do have a women's brand. They just don't have shoes. See, here's the deal. Like, we can... as much misstep as I think it was, and a lot of people think it was, and I'm a graphic designer, and I've been in marketing. I got my foot wet in marketing departments. So I understand branding, I understand marketing, I understand what a boutique brand is, I also understand what it means to be an independent or a sole proprietor, which is what Lavar Ball is trying to do with the Big Baller brand. First of all, I personally think that brand is very 90s centric, and it's whack. And I'm not paying $60 for a hat, and I'm not paying $500 for a pair of shoes, especially those pair of shoes. But I also understand what happens because a lot of people were saying he was embarrassed that he only sold 400 or 500 pairs of shoes, 400 or 500 pairs of shoes, or some reports say 5 or 6. Okay, for the people that say that like he was embarrassed and all this stuff, if you look at it, y'all got to think about it outside of Nike and the big brand shoe companies, right? That have sweatshops and have like these big multi-million-dollar, workforce behind them, to where they can sell millions of shoes. One, 400 to 500 or 400 to 600 pairs of shoes no matter what we're getting. I'm talking about both estimates here. For a person that the only reason that his brand is even exists, and I'll bring in. Let me explain to you why I'm gonna say what I'm about to say. Ball, his son, Alonzo is gonna be good. Is gonna be a good player, but there's no tape on him other than UCLA. They didn't win the championship. We don't know where he's gonna get drafted because Boston might trade that pick. Boston might draft him. You never know, right? So the fact that he was able to get 500 to 600 pre-orders of the shoe, which means he sold the shoes. Okay, he has a boutique brand that that brand is up and coming. He doesn't have any backers. Now, a lot of that is his own choosing, but if you think about the fact that brother is not trying to get a 360 deal where the major companies get not 360 deal, but like a licensing deal to where it's not just distribution. They own a piece of the brand. Like, it's not like it's not like Nike or Under Armour or all these other brands that he met with are saying, we're going to give you a distribution deal and here's a cut of the distribution. No, they want a piece of his, as Suge Knight says it, they want a piece of his masters and their masters. So they want a piece of that brand. And he's like, no, I don't want, you're not giving me a piece of my own brand and then you take the majority of the money, which is what they were offering him. They were offering him, we take a nice chunk of your brand and you have the marketing arm, you have the workforce, you have all you have all the actual marketing power and production power of all our brands, but we get a nice chunk of your brand and you get a piece of your brand. He's like, no, I'm gonna build my own company now off of the strength of my sons. Okay? Because that's a boutique brand, it's an athletic company. Okay? I get what Kristine is saying here, but that's a criticism. And you're not understanding, like, okay, this brother has limited resources and he's trying to, that brother's an independent. He has limited resources. He can only do so much. As much as I don't like how the brand looks and how 90-centric that is, there's a reason why he's only doing, they didn't do the shoe, a woman's pair of shoes or whatnot. But they do have a woman's line. It's very small, but they have one. Kristine has also said something to the effect of that his sons are scared of him and that LeVar Ball would, and this is common knowledge. I'm gonna post some of it. I'm gonna post some of the video because somebody on YouTube actually got all the clips where she was critical of him and the one clip that Whitlock was critical of him. And I have my own thoughts about Jason Whitlock, but and they put it together on YouTube. I'll put it in the description. Like, he had a point. Okay, he's been the whipping boy with Fox Sports 1 and ESPN. Colin and him are cool. They have a relationship. I also want to bring up the fact that for the people that say, because I read this today, Colin sat there and let it happen. Everybody's grown. Okay, that's number one. Number two, LeVar Ball is ratings. You know what I'm saying? And Lorenzo Ball is we're not talking about his son yet. Okay? We're talking about him because LeVar is doing all the interviews. He's doing all the press. He's doing what he does. That's ratings, man. So if you're not trying to burn a bridge here. You know what I'm saying? The co-host is, which is why he stepped to her the way he did. Now there is a way to do that, because Colin can be critical, and you can be critical without being, a jerk about it. And Lavar thought Kristine was being a jerk about it by saying that his kids are scared of him and they don't say anything, and you're forcing your children to play basketball at 6. One, he was a hooper. Lavar was a hooper. That's a basketball family. That's what they do. Okay, so it wasn't like, I don't think he had like a whip and a belt to make them practice. To make them practice. I don't know, but I don't think that's what it was. To say there was another thing where she mentioned in passing that in another interview that basically I don't think Lavar would allow. They were talking about a girl, and the clip was, I don't think Lavar would allow him to do that. I think Lavar would have a say about any girl that comes in his boy's life. Okay, there's issues there. You know what I'm saying? And I get what she was trying to do. She's trying to put him in the crazy sports parent type of deal, and that's what he took exception to. And Whitlock was a lot more, and I have issues with Whitlock because he says stuff that's kind of out there too. Whitlock's criticism was a little bit more professional, but it was still criticism. That's where the snack thing comes. That's where the snack thing comes from. Now, people don't know about Jason Whitlock because Jason Whitlock played college football. I think he played college football at Ball State. There's an idea here that because he's big, he doesn't have any athletic ability at all, and he never played sports. They just think, see, a lot of people that really that want to criticize like talking heads and sports people, they act like they only see sports as, or the people that have the right to criticize athletics are former athletes, okay? So, or our former professional athletes. So, people don't understand that Whitlock was a college athlete. I think he played at Ball State as a lineman. Okay? So, he's an athlete. Most guys that talk sports, and myself included, because I played wheelchair basketball for 4 years. I played rugby for 2 years. And still at 35 years old, am somewhat athletic still. Okay? So you played high school ball, played college wheelchair ball. Okay? So there's most people that talk sports and are interested in sports played some sport. It might not be professional, but we've played sports. So the idea that for Lavar Ball to say that, one, that's childish, and two, you didn't do your research on Jason Whitlock either. Now, Jason Whitlock still says a bunch of silliness that I don't agree with, but I think that was a low blow. You know what I'm saying? I think that's a real low blow to just talk about somebody's weight. Like he doesn't have an opinion about sports and sport dads and stuff when he was an athlete. So I don't think that's fair. What else? I don't like the brand. I don't like a lot of the stuff that Lavar Ball is doing. I don't think that that brashness is healthy. But I do respect him as a father. I also respect him as the fact that he's like, no, I'm not going to just give you a piece of my brand. You give me money and let me build my brand myself. And I don't know if it was a distribution deal or what. I'm thinking it was a distribution deal, which, oh, by the way, music, it happens all the time. Like, they're not going to take the publishing. They're not going to take your masters. But we want a piece of the distribution. We want a piece of sales, right? I respect the fact that this dude is saying, I'm going to build this myself. Either y'all gonna work with me my way, or or I'm gonna build this myself. Period. Kristine Leahy was responding to stuff that you said earlier. The Whitlock situation was something that he stated earlier. So he's responding to old things. Is that necessarily the most mature thing to do? No. But is it bad? Do I understand why he did that? Yeah. And then to go and say, when you're speaking about, what show was it? I think it was Speak for Yourself. She goes on Speak for Yourself, and then she only brings up the branding part, when you don't even do research on the fact that he has a woman's line. He just didn't do women's shoes. He just didn't, which is what he was saying, like, if we're doing a woman's clothing line, I'll cater to women. He didn't do, you don't understand, he's doing this himself, okay? There are a lot of people that I ran into one. There was a guy in Valley View Mall is about to close now, so it's not there. But there was an AMC in the mall. It became like a kind of a independent storefront arts type of place before everybody moved out. They were giving away rental storefronts, right? So there was a guy that he started two boutiques. One was a men's clothing line, and then he expanded to a women's clothing line. So it's not necessarily, it wasn't that Lavar was starting a men's clothing line with Big Brawler brand, but he's only going after the athletes and a certain demographic. It's not that he's not trying to go after the woman audience, because they have a woman's line in shirts and hats and stuff. They just don't have any shoes. So the idea that, like, you can say, I don't want to wear the brand, I don't want to wear the shirt because the shirt isn't cool, but don't say that he doesn't have a line and you got to market, you got to have a woman's line if you want to look at Nike and Under Armour and stuff. They're not boutique companies anymore. They're multi-billion-dollar companies. Lavar, this is just starting out for him. If he had a licensing deal, if he had a deal where where they're sharing some of the production costs, yeah, a woman's line would have happened. But since he's doing it by himself, I don't think that's responsible to say that. I bring that up to say this. She only mentioned that part of the reason why he was mad and the reason what he responded for. You insulted his parenting skills on 2 separate occasions, okay? Jason, and I already mentioned the Jason Whitlock thing. I understand that you're supposed to stand up for your people and for your coworkers, but understand why he did that before we throw this brother under the bus. She wasn't necessarily all right herself. He was responding to stuff that you said before. Was it mature? No. Was it right? Maybe not. Do I understand it? Yeah, I understand it perfectly. So, before we throw Lavar Ball under the bus here and make fun of him, and this becomes a thing, the talking heads need to actually pay attention and do a little bit more research when it comes before they give an opinion about something. And oh, by the way, the whole threatening thing, when he basically said, when you talk a certain way, things come back on you. That wasn't a threat personally, but he was just saying, how many times have our parents or an older person told us something to that effect? In other words, if you talk greasy about somebody, it's gonna come back on you. So don't be offended when you started it. Anyway, that's my 2 cents. It went way long, but hey man, I don't like the brand. I think some of the Lavar Ball stuff is kind of silly, but I'm defending him on this because Fox Sports 1 specifically has been real kind of iffy on that brother and that brother's relationship with his sons. Colin has been critical but has been respectful, and Shannon Sharp has been critical but has been respectful. And when they actually sat down after when they actually sat down and did the interview with did the Undisputed thing, Shannon actually said he had respect for that brother. So big ups to him. Big ups to Colin for, kind of letting Lavar be Lavar. And Kristine's an adult. She's an adult. She can handle herself. Okay? So stop all the trolls. And and another thing too, like, this ain't about race, man. It's not. It's not. There's there might be some underlying stuff here, but I saw a comment about Grayson Allen dad and Jamel Hill, if this was them. No. No, stop reaching, okay? But anyway, Push the Wild Black out. Later.